us at the Pilates studio, and also myself, Jackie, Alfred Yoga. And this is a sequence that is for your second trimester and third trimester. You will need a yoga block or a blanket to sit or a pillow. So we're going to start with, if you haven't got a yoga block, it doesn't matter, a cushion is absolutely fine. So we're going to start in a seated position, seated onto our blocks or blankets. Just bringing the hips slightly higher than the knees. And just allow your knees to relax. Draw your shoulders forward, back and down. And just feel a nice lift through the crown of the head, belly, pelvis, nice and relaxed. I'm just going to invite you to bring your left hand to your heart and your right hand to your baby. And just gently closing your eyes, we're going to start with a gentle breathing exercise, just to bring some clarity to the mind and some softness through the body. So start to gently breathe in through the nose and sending the air all the way to your belly, and just feel your baby expand into your hand. And as you gently breathe out, allow your belly, your baby to relax. And again, breathing in through the nose. Feel the belly expand into your hand. And exhale, let your baby, your belly relax. One more time, breath in, breath out. And slowly relaxing your hands all the way down to your knees. Shoulders are drawn back down and away from your ears. And just allow the breath to settle. Ensure your neck is nice and long, so just gently tuck your chin in. And just feel the contact of your seat bones to your block or your pillow. Spine nice and tall, pelvis neutral. And gently we're going to open the eyes, lift your gaze, and take a slow breath in with your palms facing up. Arms nice and wide, up and over your head. Turn the palms away, and as you exhale, draw the arms all the way back down, so your fingertips just touch the mat. And again, turning the palms up. Inhale, lift and lengthen through the spine. Find all that lovely space through the side body. Ribs are nice and open, creating lots of space through the core. Push the palms away and allow the arms to float all the way back down. And we're going to go again. And what we're doing here is creating space through the ribs, through the side body. All those organs are starting to push up higher, so we want to make so much space that we can breathe. And our baby has lots of room to grow. Rather than sitting down, being hunched over, we want to create space. So one more time, we're going to lift to lengthen. And exhale, palms away. We're just allowing the arms to float all the way back down. Lovely. And next time, as we lift and lengthen, we're going to interlace the fingers at the top, turn your palms away and just push the heel of your hand towards the sky. Keep your shoulders relaxed and a nice bend in the elbows. We're going to take a breath in, and then we're going to take a little side bend all the way down to the right. Again, opening the ribs, the side body. Don't dump into the left side of the body. Keep the length and then come over. Come back to center as we change to the other side. Again, really feeling all these ribs opening. Space is what we're creating. Come back to the centre and reach those arms all the way down. And now we're going to put our right hand onto our right knee. We're going to lift and lengthen through the left arm and just take a little turn to the left and release your hands down, taking a nice open twist and just imagining that spine just curling round as you twist like that spiral staircase. Gaze is lifted, spine is tall. Couple of breaths. Reach your left arm all the way back up as you bring your baby back to centre. And relax your hand back down to your knee. Let's go the other side. Reach all the way up with your right hand. Take a little twist to the side, looking over the right shoulder. And release your hand down. And just find a twist through the other side. Gaze is neutral. We're not twisting too far over the shoulder. Gaze is just looking in the direction you're turning. Come all the way back to the centre and release your hands. We're going to change the cross of the legs now. So this is your unnatural cross. So it does feel a little bit weird, but just cross those legs in the weird position. So we're just changing how the pelvis sits and how the hips sit. So they're quite equal. Hands are going to come to the knees. And then we're going to draw the shoulders up to the ears and round. Draw the chin to chest and round through your baby, creating space between your shoulder blades. As you breathe in, lift your chest nice and tall and draw the shoulder blades together. Gaze is lifted. Exhale, draw the shoulders up and round and just curling over your baby, over your bump. And inhale, coming all the way back up. Shoulder blades reach back, gaze gently lifts. Inhaling and exhaling back down, again curling over your baby. And coming back to the centre. And then we're going to come over onto all fours. So just removing your block blanket. And then we're going to use the blanket. If you feel that your knees need a little bit of extra support, you're going to use the blanket just to kneel on. And we're coming into an all fours position. And we're going to take those knees nice and wide. So hip width apart, even wider if it's more comfortable. Shoulders are above your wrists. And we're really going to start to widen through the fingers and push the mat away. So we've got space between the shoulder blades. And then we're going to start to take some circles through the hips. So big circles, dropping the hips to the heels as you come back. And there's nothing right or wrong here. We're just taking some movement that feels nice in the hips, in the lower back. Allowing your baby to relax down. So there's no pressure on the lower back. And then coming into the other direction. Again, really nice for any lower back tension. Any uncomfortable feelings in the lower back. This just allows your baby to release down so there's no pressure in the lower back. So just going one way and then the other. And just finding something that feels good for you here. There's nothing right and there's nothing wrong. It's just enjoying this rotational movement through the hips. And then coming back to your centre. And then we're going to do the same as we did just then, but we're coming into cat-cow in a kneeling position. So push the mat away and really tuck your baby into the midline of your body. And drop your chin down, look at your baby. Have a look at your baby and create some space between the shoulder blades. And then send the hips back. Allow your baby to release. And lift your chest, lift your gaze. As you exhale again, tuck your baby all the way into your body. Open up through the back of the shoulders. Drop your chin down and take a look at your baby. And then slowly send the hips back. Let your baby relax down. Lift your chest, lift your gaze. Inhaling at the top and exhaling all the way back again, tucking your baby all the way into your body, dropping your chin to chest, looking at your baby. Releasing your baby, chest lifts, gaze lifts. And then we're going to send our hips to the right, and we're going to just turn round and look at our bottom. So see if you can see that bottom to the right. Come back to the centre, send your hips to the left, and take that side bend, have a looking at your bottom to the left. Come back to centre. Touch your toes together, widen those knees to create space for your baby, your bump, and send your hips back to your heels. And if you need a little bit more space, especially if you're getting any acid reflux, just coming over onto the forearms and keep your head and chest lifted. If you feel okay to do so, you can drop your forehead to the mat, allowing the lower back, the sacrum, to release. And just enjoying a nice opening through the back of the body. Taking a few breaths here. And every breath you take, really feel the breath expanding into your belly. And just feeling your baby against your thighs as you breathe. And we're going to push ourselves all the way up. And just bring our hands back to our all fours. And we're going to tuck our toes under and just walking your hands back towards your knees. And just slowly bringing yourself up to a standing position. So nice and slowly, feet hip width, and just slowly start to roll up through the spine. As we come to a standing position. Well done. We're going to come to the top of our mat, getting rid of your blanket. So we're going to come to the top of the mat. And just coming to a nice hip width apart. Now if you're getting any pain through this, sorry, cuts the top of my head off. If you're getting any pain, pelvic girdle pain, just always make sure your feet stay about hip width apart or mat width apart, no wider. All our ligaments really stretch through pregnancy, so we can often extend further than really we should. But any pain through the pelvis, please keep your hip width apart legs. So a nice space between your feet, reach the arms all the way up. And same again we did with seated, turn the palms away, and as you exhale, release the arms down. Softness through the knees, and again reaching up. Palms away, exhale, softness through the knees, reach down. And again, reaching up. Exhale, reaching down. Just a few of these. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale, coming all the way down. This time we're coming all the way up to standing. Arms nice and wide, chin level, back of the neck is long. We're going to take a hold of your left wrist. Reaching up with your left hand and take that bend over to the side. Keep drawing your top shoulder back so you're not rounding through the back, your chest is still nicely lifted. Come back to the centre and change the cross. Reach up and over. And coming all the way back to the centre, releasing your hands down and place your hands onto your hips. Feet this time can go a little bit wider than hip width if you're okay with that. And take a softness in your knees, and we're going to start to take some pelvic circles. So really taking those movements through the pelvis, enjoying this lovely movement through the sacrum, the lower back. So we come side on, you can see it's just a real lovely circular movement, pushing hips forward as you come forward. Hips go back as you come back. And let's go the other direction. So really allowing space in this pelvis for your baby to grow. And as your baby starts to move down the birth canal, this is giving it lots more space. And it's encouraging your baby into that optimal fetal birthing position. So lovely release for the lower back too. Come back to your center. Nice and strong through the legs. Lifting through the kneecaps, engaging through the quads. Let's bring a little bit of energy through the legs now. So really lifting up through the inner arches and feel your legs nice and active. Nice and tall through the spine. Hands on those bony bits of your hips. They are still there, I promise. And then just draw your elbows back and just lift your chest. Lift your gaze. As if you're drawing the shoulder blades together as much as you can. And then start to take a softness through the knees as you push your hips back and come into a lovely half fold. So allow your baby just to release here. And then you may want to start to straighten your legs a little bit to feel the stretch in the back of the hamstrings. Keep pushing the hips back. Keep drawing the elbows back to lift the chest. Feel that nice stretch through the back of the hamstrings. And then slowly grounding through your feet with a nice straight flat back. Come up to standing. Builds a little bit of energy through the body now, reaching the arms all the way up. And exhale them down. Then we're going to come into our standing tree pose. So it's a little bit of balance here and a little bit of concentration needed. So we're going to focus on a point in front of us that doesn't move, just to keep the balance, keep the lift up through the body. And we're just going to bring the right heel above the left ankle and find your tree pose here. Hands are going to stay on the hips. And if you feel okay to do so and you're not having any hip pain, you can bring your foot to your calf. If you're finding any discomfort through the hips, please keep your foot grounded because we don't want to imbalance that pelvis. So find your tree pose, being a nice lift through the crown of the head. And maybe you can open your branches. Couple of breaths. And if you lose your wobble, that's fine. Just come back into it. Bring the hands back down to the hips. Draw the knee in and relax. Take those feet wide and let's go back into those rolls through the pelvis. Lovely. One way and then the other. And come back to your neutral stance. And let's take our tree pose the other way. So remembering any pain through the pelvis, you keep your foot grounded so we don't imbalance those hips. Otherwise, if you're feeling okay, you can take your foot to your calf. Keep drawing this knee out so we've got a nice opening through the front of the hips. And reach your arms up. Keep your gaze lifted and keep looking at that focal point that doesn't move to keep the concentration. And release the leg down. Sorry. Then we're going to come with our feet together. And then we're going to take a little wider stance if it's okay for your hips. Same again, bring our hands to the hips. And push yourself forward, push your hips back and find again your nice flat back. This time feet a little wider than the hips if that's okay for you, otherwise you stay hip width. Finding a deeper stretch through the back of the legs and just placing your hands onto your thighs. Chest lifts and find a nice stretch across the back of the legs. And then we're going to take a softness through the knees and come into a little squat. Reach the arms all the way up into your goddess pose. So bringing your hands parallel to your mat, elbows are shoulder height. Take a breath in, reach up, straighten the legs and come into your star pose. Exhale, bend the knees, drop the hips. Your heels are in, your toes are pointing the same direction as your knees, so the feet aren't parallel. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, coming down. No need to come down too far, but keep drawing the elbows back as if you're trying to hold a pencil between your shoulder blades. Inhale, reach up, bringing some energy into the legs. Exhale, come down. One more, reaching up and coming all the way down. You've got it. Bring your hands to the hips and just come and lift and standing to the top of your mat. And we're coming all the way back down now. So we're going to come into a nice squat. So we're going to bring our feet hip width apart, mat width apart, feet facing forward. We're going to bring the arms up and place your hands into prayer. And we're going to draw the hands to the heart. Take a softness through the knees and start to bring yourself down into your squat. Wiggle around with your feet to find a comfortable place and drop the hips. And just lift your chest. Now don't worry if you can't get all the way down, that's fine. Come to where is comfortable. Or maybe placing a cushion or a bolster under your hips. We're going to do a couple of breaths here. And as you breathe in, start to lift up through the pelvic floor, all the way up to your belly. Exhale, relax. Inhale, lifting through the pelvic floor. Exhale, relax. One more time. Inhale, lift. Exhale, relax. And placing your hands down to the mat and bring your feet back to all fours. And just walking your hands back, we're going to take some movement again through the hips. So we're going to drop the heels back. And we're going to rest the hips on the heels, bend the elbows, and then we're going to scoop forward and up. Hips go back, elbows relax, scooping forward and up. So this is taking some movement through the arms now, so it's going to use a little bit of arm strength to push yourself forward and back into swooping cat. So let's take a few of these. And don't forget, you can stop at any time and sit in child's pose. You don't have to continue, but it's just bringing a little bit of energy through the arms. Let's go one more time. And come all the way back up. Tuck your toes under. Walk your hands back. And bring yourself back all the way into a forward fold. Hips, feet are hip width apart, and just relax your belly down, relax your head, neck, chest. And just grabbing hold of one elbow and then the other, drawing the crown of the head down, and just let everything release. Take the knees nice and soft, and just maybe feel your baby resting onto your thighs. And just connect back into your breath. Inhaling and exhaling. Release your hands. Soften your knees and roll slowly up through your spine. Really slowly lifting the head. And take a couple of breaths here at the top. Just allow your body to settle. Especially if you've got any blood pressure, you must do this really slowly and mindfully. So if anything doesn't feel right here, you just stop, relax in child's pose. And slowly walk to the top of your mat. We're going to do the same again. Feet hip width apart, slightly wider. Inhale, reach up. Bring the hands to prayer. Exhale, coming all the way down to your squat. Either sitting on a cushion or a bolster to support your hips. And we're going to take a breath in, lifting through the pelvic floor. Inhale, lift. Exhale, relax. Inhale, lift. Exhale, relax. One more time. Place the hands down. Walk your knees back and into our swooping cat. So forward, hips go back, drop the elbows and swooping forward and up. And just connecting these movements with your breath as you go. Again, it is using strength through the arms. So you can just do cat-cow here if you prefer, or you can rest in child's pose. You choose the best option for you today. One more time. Coming back to all fours. I want you to tuck your toes under, draw your knees in slightly, and we're coming up into a downward facing dog. So fingers are nice and wide, shoulders are above your wrist. Really keep that bend in your knees, tuck your toes as you lift your hips and send your hips back as you push the mat away. Keep that lovely bend in your knees, take your feet a little wider and keep pushing the hips high. Release your head to the mat and just enjoy that stretch through the spine. We're here only for a couple of breaths. Keep that lovely softness through the knees and then drop your knees back to the mat. And then we're going to bring ourselves back to our seat. So using your block, sitting on your block to bring your hips higher than your knees. And we're going to take the legs long. I'll sit side on so you can see me. Now if you've got nice length through the hamstrings, you'll probably be okay to take your legs nice and long. But if it feels too uncomfortable, or if when you lengthen your legs it's rounding your back, just take that softness through the knees. Lift up through the crown of the head so your spine is nice and tall. And reach the arms all the way up. Inhaling. And then as you exhale, just release your hands down. Obviously you've got a bump in the way here, so you won't be able to go too far. But really think about shoulders back, gaze, chest lifted. And maybe here, if you can, you may be able to start to lengthen the legs to get the stretch across the back of the hamstrings. Couple of breaths here. And coming all the way up. Then we're going to take the legs wide. So again, as wide as you can, as wide as feels comfortable. And keep the feet nice and active. And again, spine nice and tall. And we're going to reach the arms in front of us, interlace the fingers like you're holding a wooden spoon. And we're going to do stir the porridge. So holding your wooden spoon and really open the back of the shoulders. And let's take some circles. Imagining that big bowl of porridge you're stirring. Feet are still super active. Arms are nice and long, so we're not bending, we're not using the shoulders for the movement. Movement's coming from the hips. So forward, leaning back, and forward. So the movement's coming from your centre, not from your arms. Let's go the other way. Lovely, and then coming back to the centre. Releasing your hands under your knees and draw your legs together. Placing the soles of your feet together and just letting the knees drop to wherever feels comfortable, whether you naturally wish to lay. If it feels too much, you can support them with your hands. Just starting to open the front of the hips, the front of the pelvis. So just let the hips relax. And just allow your hands to release wherever they want to go. Maybe you can reach under your feet to really feel that stretch down the side of the neck, the shoulders, or just let them relax onto the ankles. So sit nice and tall. And this is a really good place to get some stretching through the neck. So just dropping the chin to the chest and the ear to the shoulder. So just making those half circle movements, enjoying that stretch through the neck. and there's nothing right or wrong here. It's just finding a movement that feels really good for you. Maybe if it feels okay, you can take a whole circle with your head, but only if you don't feel dizzy. Just feel what's good for you here today. Keeping the connection going with your breath. And come back to a center point. Lift your gaze. And then draw your hands under your knees and lift the legs. And then coming back into your cross-legged seat. We're going to come back to the position we started in. We're going to place our left hand to the heart and your right hand to your baby. And just bringing your awareness now back to the body. And just noticing any sensations that you may feel, anything that feels different. We've built some energy through the body. We've created some life in the body. So you may feel tingling sensations, which is good. Heart rate may feel slightly lifted. So let's connect back with the breath and allow the body to come back to a resting state. So breathing in, sending that breath all the way to your baby. Really sending your baby into your hand as you send the breath all the way down. Exhale, release, let go. Maybe it feels good here to exhale now through the mouth. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale through the nose. And an ah through the breath. One more time. Inhale. And I'm going to invite you to bring your hands to your heart. Gently resting your thumbs on your sternum. From my heart to yours, I hope you've enjoyed that practice today.